How you feeling
Yes.
since yesterday, since we last spoke?
I feel
Mm,
great. I feel great.
yeah.
I'm ready to chat. God, it's been
Mm,
so long. It's been so
I'm tr
long
yeah,
since
I'm trying to think when the last time I think last time I probably spoke to you might have been pre-pandemic on the phone last
I
time.
think it
Mm,
was. It was definitely it's got to have been pre-pandemic.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was
Mhm.
it was like because I bumped into you when I was in my final year at drama school. Do you
Yeah.
remember in Liverpool Street, I think?
Yes, yes,
Randomly.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
Um, and was this before or after? Because you went away.
yeah,
You
it
went
was
away. So was it
it was
after?
no, yeah, it was like literally my final year. And
Oh.
yeah, I just remember like, whoa, yes, sir. And then you came to see the show. But
Yes, I came to of course, you invited me
yeah,
to the show and I
yeah, yeah,
came,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
That long ago.
That feels like that's probably the last time I feel like I spoke. We may have spoken actually during the pandemic, you know. I
Probably,
remember
probably.
when your show came out. You had a show on BBC, the one that was set in
Oh, the world was
Manchester.
World on Fire.
Uh-huh. There we go.
Yeah. God, but we're still going back.
I
Ye
kn
was even then, even that was a while back.
that was too long. Yeah, it's too long. But okay, can I take you even further back from
Yes. Take me
when we
back, take me
first take
back.
you to the good days? The first time we met, I think you were doing a spoken word piece. Was it in Ronnie Scott's or was it somewhere in central London's in Soho or something? You were doing one of your poems. I just remember being in a bar or some kind of jazz bar. I don't know if you
No.
remember that.
I do not, because there was a period of time, and it was
Mm,
that era when I would just whatever wherever I could,
mm,
wherever I could, I would, like, go and try and read a poem, and there were a
yeah,
lot of collectives, so they would do it. Do you know what? There were a lot of collectives at different places, so it could have been
mm,
Dean Atter's night with that he did with
mm,
Diana called "Come Rhyme with Me." It could
mm,
have been I remember Outspoken
mhm,
poetry used to have a night. So it could have been in any one of those because that was before I was putting my own things on. So
yeah.
I and they had them just everywhere, wherever they could get a space. So I would just try and do it
That
anywhere I
that was
could.
I just have like a vivid image of you being on stage and me just thinking, wow, this lady is amazing. And I think I went up to you and was like, do you have do you need your poems recorded for a video?
Yes, I do
And it
remember
was like
that.
it was an impromptu. I was like, I think I wanted to start filming stuff as well at that point. And I had those, these the little early days Canon
Yeah.
100Ds or whatever.
Mhm.
So and then we filmed that. But let's take people back even more further
Okay.
than that. What were you like as a as a young person? Were you super creative? Did people kind of see and identify that Yrsa was going to be an incredible writer performer?
Well, one thing I'll say about being younger is I'm still the same person.
Mm,
So it's still I have the kind of mannerisms that I had then. I am
mm,
very reserved.
mm, mm,
Um,
mm,
so I like a lot of alone time. That's still
mm.
the majority of time spent. But I am friendly and I love people. And I
Yeah.
like to observe, I really like to observe through it just like a kind of I'm not gonna say neutral because 'cause I'm not neutral, but like
Mm,
a kind of non-judgmental lens on the world. I'm interested in the world and why we do the things that we do or we don't do the things that we don't do. And so always just like, I love writing. I love to perform that writing, or
mm,
give it to other people to perform. And just yeah, I'm really interested, deeply interested in human nature and, love and all of these things that we need,
mm.
in
What
life.
what what drew you to kind of writing to begin with? Like, because I'm sure you could have done a lot of different things, a lot of creative things to begin with. What was the first spark that kind of like drew you to writing in particular?
Okay, I definitely know this. It's
Mm,
because my the one of my first skills was reading. It's just
Yeah.
my first skill. It's my number one skill to this
Mm,
day, to get information and process it quickly. And the reason why I have that skill was because my mum she was a single mum. She was Jamaican, and she impressed on me this need to read at a really early age.
mm,
She read to me, she read with me and with lots of patience. She didn't have
mhm,
patience with much else, but with reading, it really, or either that or I got it quickly. But
mm,
she read to me all the time, and she would not make distinctions, and I think this is quite important for kids. She did not make distinctions between, "Okay, this is too hard a piece of work," or, "This is
yeah.
for an older group than you." She would just read me everything, and I believe I kind of can attest to, giving kids material that stretches them a little bit, not just like young
Mm,
material, you know? So she did that, and that was where I learned to read, and I loved it, fell in love with the worlds available to
mm,
you when you
yeah.
read.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, I also think the same thing around also languages. Like how you see
Yeah.
how sometimes they tell, like when I was born in Uganda, and when I came to London, the thing that the schools are trying to encourage, my family, at least with all of us, is like, oh, don't confuse them, like speak to them in a
Yeah.
singular
Yeah.
language. But I feel like young kids are able to absorb a lot of information and they can pick up multiple languages. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, so I think that's a really good thing that your mom did, because I think sometimes people really make this erroneous kind of assumption that kids can't be able to process, complex information, and they can. That's a great time for them to be learning.
Yeah, they're like
Yeah.
sponges, right? They
Yeah,
absorb
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
And it really puts a limit, I think something that we do, and I know that we all process information differently and everybody have different ways, but I think sometimes we can be very limiting, especially with anybody, with people, with
Mhm.
children, on what they can absorb. And it's a mistake sometimes. You just need to kind of watch and see before you
Yeah.
prescribe, the limits of the situation.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's a really kind of uh great origin story. We've got the end story, which is you obviously write this beautiful book that we're going to talk about. The cat.
The
Looking
cat.
nice, bright and pink, right? We're gonna capture it. You do love nice bright colors. I've got the terrible as well, which is
I
bright
love
and red.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's great. You don't shy away from that. So
No.
but before we jump into the catch, um, so your mom's reading to you. Did you feel like within school and maybe in your kind of early years, other people aside from your parents kind of like encourage that a hunger for creativity or hunger
Yeah.
for reading and writing?
It was where I got a lot of validation, and,
Yeah.
we like validation.
Yeah, yeah, of
And
course.
so, when I was at school and being asked to, recite this poem that I wrote in a normal class and go to the
Mm,
assembly and do it, I was like, "Oh, people do like what I write." Because
mm,
without that, a person really doesn't know. So we do go to where we get the most kind of encouragement. And that,
mhm.
for me, it was always that. It was never anything else. It wasn't like
Yeah,
running or anything like that. I was
yeah,
very,
yeah.
like, average in that, But
You weren't good at athletics. You didn't do sports
I
or
I'm
anything.
I naturally have, like, was a good long jumper and things like that, but I'm just
Yeah,
just average.
yeah, yeah,
Not
yeah,
not
yeah.
good, not bad, just
Didn't
very
stand out.
average.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
mm.
Even though I was tall, everybody was disappointed.
They were like, "Come on, basketball,
Yeah,
netball, come on, do
yeah,
something." Yeah, yeah,
no,
yeah,
very average, very
yeah.
average.
Mm.
Mm, to
Okay.
this day.
So you really shined when it came to the creation of like literary works. Like you read your poem out and you got validation from
Yeah.
from there. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just because I don't even know if it was like let me not. I don't want to talk myself down or aura, but I don't know if it was like literary prowess, but just because it was honesty about the
Yeah.
world around us, and people like to see themselves reflected in things.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think I wrote in a way where people were like, "Oh, me too." I
Wow.
think that's what it is.
Oh, and were you that profound, like even at that age as well?
I don't know how profound it was, but it was definitely I was definitely being honest. I was talking
Yeah.
about, like, so this person had an argument in the house and or this you know, telling on everything.
Yeah, yeah. Stitching on your family. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's so
snitching, yeah.
that is so funny. That is the early when young people write, same with my siblings, like we read back stuff we wrote and we're basically just retelling stuff that was happening at home. So
Right,
you try
right,
or you kind of like mask it in superheroes or whatever and you put yourself at the
right.
center, you put your parents at the center and you're like super dad, came back
Yeah.
and caught me, I don't know, stealing food from the fridge or whatever. And it's like, oh, that just sounds like your dad caught you stealing food from the fridge. Like the character sounds like your name, but it just,
It
you know what I
sounds
mean?
like you.
It sounds
Yeah,
like you,
and
exactly. Yeah,
it's an excellent way to mask, isn't it? If you
yeah,
don't
yeah,
want to come out with, like, a memoir or anything
yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah,
want to say this you wanna have this feeling, but you know, you wanna
yeah,
give it to another character, so it's kind of a
yeah,
safe
yeah.
feeling.
Yeah, it's really good, and the centering of yourself in the story as well, and writing because isn't it so like natural for humans to want to tell a story? Like even before we could like write, we wanted to draw in caves or we wanted to leave some kind of like
Yeah.
mark to say we were here and to entertain others as well.
Yeah, and we've been doing that to the since the beginning of time, haven't we?
Yeah,
Even with the oral traditions of passing stories down, and
yeah,
it keeps the ancestors alive, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Even if you don't know that you're actively doing that, we're passing, the
yeah.
gift on.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Um, and then okay, so we're leaving kind of the early years a little bit.
Mhm.
The teen years, because it's not always cool to be someone that likes reading,
Oh.
it's not always cool to be into writing. Did you like kind of maintain that, or did you start picking up like different other cooler things, so to speak?
Oh, I was I haven't ever been necessarily in my teenage years
Yeah.
been cool.
Mm,
And I think one of the big mistakes, social mistakes I made
mm,
was that there were lots because I did not have a clue when I went to high school, age like 11 and 12.
mm,
We had to talk about what we wanted to be, and I was like, I want to be an author, thinking it was like
mm,
really cool,
mm.
and people were like giggling, laugh. It was not seen as cool.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
it just wasn't, and I
Mm,
didn't know. I thought it was
yeah.
great because I thought authors were really, really cool, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
I felt like they were celebrities,
Did that did that
you
did
know?
that kinda like that feels like maybe it didn't even knock you, but was there a feeling of like, "Oh, that's a shame you lot don't think it's cool."
By the time I was that age, I was already the only black person in the entire school.
Oh.
I was already literally a foot and a half taller than everybody else.
Hmm.
I was already a Seventh-day Adventist in a school, in a place where I don't probably Christians or Catholics or, some
Mm.
of the or no religion.
Mm.
There was so many differences by then, it was like,
Just another one. Yeah,
just
yeah,
another added to the
yeah.
pile, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, what's
Uh,
next? This is nothing compared to all the others. Yeah,
Nothing compared
yeah,
to the others.
yeah.
No. So,
Oh,
fly the
me
flag.
yeah, yeah, fly. I mentioned one of your poems. I think one of the first ones that I heard from you. You talk candidly about like your home and being from up north and missing
Yeah.
up north and like I never actually I didn't notice that it wasn't that diverse. I just think when I think of up north, I think surely there's loads of black people at that. But yeah, what was that like
Well,
being?
I
Yeah.
was in Chorley, so I wasn't in Manchester,
Oh,
and I wasn't in the place where I was in a little village up,
mm,
like, between Preston and kind of it was not diverse at all. A bit
yeah,
more diverse now, but it
yeah, yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
But how do you end up there? Like, why not London? Or is that where your kind of like your mum went?
Well, a lot of we're going back now, but, like, there was the Windrush era,
Yeah,
and there
yeah,
was just that era, post Windrush.
Mm,
And when my grandmother came to this country, there were a lot of people that did settle up north in or in the provinces or near Liverpool, which was where they had a major port as well.
yes.
But there were a lot of people who settled alone and migrated to different parts. Or some people started in London, but there were a lot of people in different places up north, just in a
Uh,
smaller kind. My grandma came with her sister years
mm,
and years ago. That was where she met my granddad. Uh,
mm.
in in
In, Ch-
Chorley, in
in
Lancashire.
Chorley, in
Yes.
Lancashire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Uh,
yeah, that did happen too, just less concentration of people.
yeah, yeah. No, I think I love that because also it gives a different vibe to your work. Like again, from that poem, it was so um just yeah, unique and since then it's I think you've become even more international, but there's like a real groundedness
Up
to your
north.
don't you think? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
you're
yeah.
still from the north, but like there's a
I'm a
real kind of
northerner.
international there's an international vibe about you. Um so do you recall like your first maybe moment where you went, okay, I am gonna try pursue life as a writer or life as an author? Because once you got the idea that, oh, when I grow up I want to be an author, when do you start kind of putting that into effect?
Immediately,
Yeah.
I was always doing it, so I made this little magazine that I sent to Blue Peter. Remember
Oh,
Blue I had a Blue Peter badge. Me and my
you
brother did it.
you got one.
I've got a
Are
blue
you one of the
Where
few?
I
Where
wanna
is?
know where it is.
Are you?
I know
Do you have it on you? As in, like you have it in
I
your.
have
You can look
one
around.
in
You can
my
look around.
possession. Yes, I have one, but
Like,
I don't I think it's in a storage unit in London. That's where I
oh,
think it is because I have my stuff in some stuff in storage in London, and I
yeah.
think it's there, but I do have it. Yeah.
You're one of the few people that actually got a Blue Peter. So when someone said you want a Blue Peter badge, you're like, I've got one already.
Yeah, I've been had that. I
Mhm.
had that when did I get it? I was 9 or 10 when I
Yeah.
got it.
Whoa.
Oh, that was a good
So
moment.
so you and your brother send in a magazine.
We sent in the yeah, we
Yeah.
just made it from A4 paper.
Yeah.
Excuse me. We just made it from A4 paper, and it was just all these, like, little quizzes because we were obsessed with this magazine called
Yeah.
Quiz Kids,
Yeah.
and
Quiz kids.
I was a geek.
Yeah.
In just to the yeah,
Yeah.
nth degree. It was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
"Oh, do these quizzes, like, these little word searches." I made all those things.
Do you like quizzes now? Do you still do quizzes now?
I love word searches. I'm obsessed with it.
Oh,
Yeah.
what? I thought.
Nothing with numbers. I
Oh,
don't do Sudoku.
it's same. I can't do word search. I've tried to do word searches before, but the quizzes I like the most are like TV quizzes,
Oh, okay, yeah.
general knowledge stuff. But yeah, the word searches, I had to rack my brain. It's a bit too.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know, like because they sometimes the clues they use is like who's gonna get that, like, but clearly people do, but you
Oh, no,
just
you're thinking crosswords. They're hard.
oh no, yeah, crossword. Okay, so it's different to word.
I just love that no, word searches are so easy because word searches
uh,
are just it's just letters and you just have to find the words.
Oh,
I love it. I love
that's
it.
easy.
I
I could
know.
do that. I could
Yeah,
do.
you can that's how I'm
Oh,
like, yeah, you must
those.
mean
Okay.
crossword
Yeah.
because
Thank you. Because someone would have thought this guy can't do a simple word search. That's like
no,
literally just
they're
find it. Bro.
amazing.
No, no, I love those as well because there's some hidden words in there. You're like,
Yeah.
yeah. No,
And it's chill, it brings you into the present, that's what I like
yeah,
about it because you just find it and then you're only thinking about that, and I love things that are just very because in this day and there's so much going on, I love,
yeah.
like focus is really important to me.
Yeah. Would you say that's what, yeah, that's one of your kind of multiple or your key kind of things that you use to center yourself? Because you do always
Oh.
seem very centered and but you have like a lot of like kind of fun, bright energy, but you still,
I'm very centered,
yeah,
but the only reason I have this energy is because I really protect my space, and I try to maintain, like, a lot of peace, like, I have to
yeah,
go out on my walks all the time, and just to keep me in the game because the
yeah.
mental health, it's something that you have to work on.
Wow, it's I'm just watching you, just thinking that's true. I'm getting flashbacks. You used to love that. I mean, like whether it was snowing or whatever, you'd still enjoy a good walk. And I think we
Yeah, I
shot a
love
music
it.
video that was in the snow. I was like, that's it's
Yeah,
feasible.
I remember
Remember
that. It
that
was really
end
cold. I
end of
had
the
the big
world?
heavy coat on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
not the end of the world, but
Not the,
almost. Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
yeah, yeah. And we're out filming there, freezing cold, but we just still, yeah,
Yeah, doing it. Just
yeah.
we were so, like,
We were creating.
dedicated. We were
We were
like, "Yes,
dedicated.
we're doing this."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had the monologues as well that you shot we shot on the balcony, like the Shakespeare stuff. Like when people see it's so funny. That's why I love these these chats. People think that it just happened just like that.
Oh,
They don't know that you've been or we've been kind of like at it for years and doing those small, whether it's self tapes, whether it's doing monologues just for the fun of it. You're not even just doing it because you're gonna submit it to someone. You're doing it to like improve. Yeah,
yeah.
proper dedicated. One of your
There's
first
decades of work.
decades of work going in, putting that working. Because speaking of which as well, one of the first you had another poem which was like it was a long poem actually. It was about maybe 10 so minutes. Like, and we were kind of it is what it is. Do you remember that?
Yeah, oh, yes, yeah,
Yeah.
from Bone. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And for a lot of because I was in the poetry scene as well, and sometimes people wouldn't kind of be bold enough to write those kind of lengths of poems. Like, is that something that you kind of push yourself and challenge yourself in your early works, and even now, where you go, I'm just gonna really like just challenge myself.
You
Yeah.
know, I never know what it's gonna be. Oh, I can feel it. I can feel like
Mm.
a helicopter, and it's like
Oh,
everything just went like that. Um, I don't know what it's gonna be
mm,
until I'm doing it. And
yeah,
sometimes it's coming out more like a short story, and you're like,
yeah,
"Oh, this is longer than I thought," but I just go with it. I don't really do a lot of planning in my work.
yeah,
I just kind of, like, let it go,
yeah,
let it
yeah.
run through. Because as you I'm sure, and I'll ask you about this, but just
Mm-mm,
the way that things come to us,
yeah,
sometimes I'm almost convinced I'm just the vessel, right?
right.
And then this is coming from
Yeah,
like, something else.
yeah.
So you're gonna make yourself available to it.
Yeah, actually, you were right. It was like a short story. Actually, it was more of a short story,
Yeah.
but it had that kind of verse. It was written in sort of verse, I think, semi-verse, semi-prose. But
And we wanted to make it. Do
we
you
wanted to
remember?
make it.
We
I do
wanted to
remember.
make this
Yeah,
happen.
and we were
And
again, we were diligent and determined. We
we
were reaching out.
were.
We had an actor alongside you. We were reaching out at this time where people are scared to kind of reach out to people. We're reaching out to big people as well
We
to like jump on
were.
board. And I think that's like good practice because now all I do
Yeah.
is reach out to kind of creators and stuff like that. And it kind of gave me at 23 and in our 20s, like we were unafraid to kind of actually
Really.
take a risk and go, let's do
Yeah.
it. I think we was also fundraising as well, and
We
so
were, yes.
so really, it's a really good kind of like practice, even if it doesn't happen during that time, but just years later you use that. So you said you don't you kind of use you're the vessel, right? And I
Mhm.
agree with that. Like I think sometimes the stories in one of your characters kind of refers to herself as possibly being magic or being kind of have some kind of
Mhm.
witch abilities. And I think there's a sense of magic that comes with being a writer. You're able to conjure ideas and conjure
Yeah.
worlds and stuff like that. Did you identify that early on, or is that a recent discovery?
I think I identified it without knowing what it was, but I knew that I've gotta make myself available for the work,
Yeah.
right? So sit there, and it's not one of these things where I sit there and I have to make it happen,
Mm,
because I think that we can think that, and then you just put it off because you think, "Oh, it's gonna be hard, like, I'm gonna sit there." But what I started to understand is how just making the first step, like sitting there, making yourself available to the thing will come if you make the conditions right, and if you
yeah.
kind of match the conditions up each day, or you say, "Okay, I'm gonna give God, 15 minutes to this each day,
Yeah.
sit in the same spot." and let it come through. I think you there's a lot of trusting that has to happen,
Yeah,
and then you let it come through. Yeah,
I
I
I
don't think
I,
it's all me. I think
I
it's
agree.
yeah.
I agree. Like I think so. It's scary because
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, August Wilson talked about like how sometimes the characters will come to him and they'll like ask him question, or he will see something. He was talking about, I think there was a character called King Hedley II, and he saw that he had a scar on his face. Like, why have you got that scar on your face? And then the character told him the story of how he had the scar on the face, and then boom, he had an idea and he started kind of writing away. And yeah, similarly as well, I just go, something might happen to me, like really seemingly mundane. And then on my walk back home, I might go, I think I have the idea. I think I know what this is. And before it can go away from me, I have to get that. Just write it,
Right.
write it, write it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Even if it's so messy and it's like 100 and something page, if this isn't in screenplay format, like if it's 150 whatever pages but of nothing but mess, at least something's there. And yeah, it's not easy, but I think it's a level of like discipline and maybe even slight arrogance to go, yeah, this needs to be heard, you know?
Yeah. You need that thing that tells you it needs to be heard, I think, because the inner critic is so it can be so loud sometimes. I think especially because so many people are making things and you can kind of think, "Oh, well, should I just make another thing because it's not gonna be like this," or,
Can I
maybe
just
someone
freeze
else.
you for can I
Oh,
just
yeah.
freeze you for a moment? Only because but we I'll just ask the question again because I missed some of it. But I was saying there has to be a level of like I guess arrogance that the writer
Yeah.
has to feel like, oh, this story has to be told. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
yes, and I think we need that because
Yeah.
there's so much of an inner critic. There's so much of that, and if we're not careful, it's easy to think, "Oh, well, what why would my voice be important?" Because everybody's making things, making films, making, some kind of, for want of a better word, content. And because now
Yep.
we're in a space with so much of it, it's really easy to discourage yourself.
You're so right. You're so
So
right. And
easy.
it makes me think of one of the two lead characters in The Catch. Wow.
Hey.
Banger of us that this book. Firstly, I didn't, I just remembered when it was announced, there was like a log line that you had, and picking it up, reading it, I didn't read the synopsis because I do like sometimes just finding out the book as I'm reading it.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, okay, what's happening here? My brain was doing overtime because at one moment you jump into the actual chapters of the book, like you evidence, you're like chapter 10, evidence. I'm like, what's happening here? I just saw we left chapter 10. Why are we back on, why are we on chapter 4 now?
Hey.
So that kind of the jump in of or the experimentation of the form within, it's like again, it's a novel within a novel, or novels, multiple novels within this one singular novel. Like, how did you how did you get that spark? Like, I know you've been asked this multiple times, but how did you get the spark of that idea? Because it's such a really mind blowing premise.
God knows. I wanted